You ever catch yourself wondering why people seem distant, why friendships feel shallow, or why connections don't last? It's easy to blame other people to think, well, they just don't care or I must not be that interesting. But what if the problem isn't them? What if it's the way you see yourself that's creating the distance? Low self esteem doesn't just sit quietly in your mind, it seeps into how you talk, how you react, how you show up, and without you even realizing it, how you push people away. There are blind spots that keep you stuck, and today we're going to talk about what they are and how you can make small changes in your life that will make a huge difference. Real quick, I want to say thank you to everyone who shows up and supports my channel, and I enjoy helping and showing up for you. If you're new, I'm Mike, creator of Positive Thinking Mind, author of the Positive Thinking Mind Blueprint, your personal guide to self-discovery, stress management, goal setting, developing confidence, and cultivating a positive mindset. It's life's ultimate blueprint. Get your copy at the shop or in the link below. First on our list of low self-esteem that could be sabotaging your relationships is thinking your words and actions don't matter. If you don't see your own value, it's easy to assume that others don't either. This can lead to treating interactions as if they're insignificant, like whatever you say or do doesn't really impact anyone. But here's what really happens. When you believe that, you act like it. You might make offhand comments that sting more than you realize, or you might brush people off without thinking twice. And because no one calls you out on it, you assume it wasn't a big deal. But people don't always confront. They distance themselves, they avoid, they stop reaching out. And when that happens, you might think, see, I knew they didn't care. But it's not that they didn't care, it's that they didn't feel cared for. For example, friend invites you out. You decline, but you don't suggest another time. In your head, it's no big deal. You figure they're just being polite, that you were just another extra on their list. But on their end, they might feel like they were the extra one, like they were hoping for your company and you didn't care enough to reciprocate. These small moments add up. If you assume your presence doesn't matter, you won't put in the effort that makes people feel valued. And when people don't feel valued, they pull away. Number 2 on our list, assuming people don't want to hear from you. This one is sneaky because it comes from a place of not wanting to be a burden. Someone close to you is struggling, maybe a friend is going through a breakup, or a family member is dealing with something tough. You hesitate to reach out. You tell yourself, they have other people that they'd rather talk to, or I wouldn't know what to say anyway. So you do nothing. What you don't see is how that silence is received. When people are hurting, they remember who checked in. Even a simple, hey, I heard what's going on, thinking of you, can mean everything. But when you hold back, the message that comes across isn't neutrality, it's absence. Even if you've ever been on the other side of this, you know how much that can hurt. You go through something rough and you notice who doesn't reach out. You wonder if they even care. But what if the people you felt let down by were thinking the same thing you are right now? That they didn't want to bother you, that they didn't know what to say. The truth is, you don't have to say the perfect thing. Just saying something reminds people they're not alone, and that alone strengthens connections. Third, coming across as closed off or distant. Social situations can be exhausting when you don't feel confident in yourself. Walking into a room full of people can bring up thoughts like, I bet no one really wants to talk to me, or I don't belong here. And when that's running through your mind, your body language follows. You might avoid eye contact, keep your arms crossed, position yourself away from the group. You think you're just protecting yourself, but to everyone else, it can look like disinterest, or worse, like you think you're too good for them. And that's where things get messy, because the people around you aren't mind readers. If someone seems guarded or uninterested, most people won't push. They'll take the hint and back off. And then you're left feeling invisible, thinking, I knew they didn't want to talk to me, but they were only responding to the energy you gave them. People mirror what they receive. If you enter a conversation with warmth, curiosity, or even just a relaxed presence, others feel more comfortable. But if you seem detached or hesitant, they hesitate too. If you want people to open up to you, you have to be willing to open up first. Fourth, fishing for validation in ways that push people away. When you don't feel good about yourself, it's tempting to look for reassurance from others. But how you go about it makes all the difference. There's a huge gap between someone who openly expresses a need, like saying, I could really use some encouragement today, versus someone who gets validation by putting themselves down. Statements like, I'm the worst, nobody actually likes me, or I always mess things up aren't just casual self-criticisms. They're bait, and the expected response is, no, that's not true, you're amazing. It's a way to get people to say something nice, but it comes with an emotional weight. Think about how it feels when someone does this constantly. It starts to feel like a job, like you have to constantly lift them up. It doesn't feel good for either person, and the worst part? The compliments don't actually help. No matter how much reassurance you get, it doesn't stick, because the real problem isn't what other people think of you, it's what you think of yourself. If this is something you recognize in yourself, try this. Instead of seeking reassurance in a passive way, be direct. If you need support, ask for it. And at the same time, work on breaking the habit of talking down to yourself. The way you speak about yourself affects how others see you. If you act like you're unworthy, people start to believe it. But if you treat yourself with respect, others will follow suit. And fifth is expecting others to read your needs without expressing them. A huge source of frustration in relationships comes from unspoken expectations. The thought process goes something like this. If they really cared, they would just know what I need. If they were paying attention, they would see I'm upset and ask what's wrong. If I tell them, it doesn't count. That last one is dangerous because it keeps you in a cycle of disappointment. Instead of letting people in, you test them. You wait to see if they'll get it. And when they don't, it just confirms your belief that they don't really care. But what if they just have a different way of expressing things? Not everyone picks up on the same signals. Not everyone thinks to ask what you need if you haven't made it clear. And that's not a sign that they don't care, it's just a difference in communication styles. The simplest way to avoid this cycle, say what you need. Instead of waiting for someone to guess, tell them. People who genuinely care about you want to show it, but they need to know how. If you saw yourself in any of these, that's not a bad thing. It just means you're becoming aware of patterns that might be holding you back. Awareness is the first step to breaking them. Low self-esteem doesn't just affect how you feel, it affects how you connect with others. The good news, small changes make a big difference. So take a second. Think about one of these patterns that you might be holding on to and ask yourself, what's one thing you can do differently today? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. And if you're ready to take your confidence to the next level, don't miss the confidence key. Your fast track to feeling stronger, more self-assured, and truly valued. Check it out in the shop or in the description. Until next time, take care of yourself. You deserve it. Stay positive, friends.